you can access to the resources for paying nothing, right? So the so-called is very much based on the so-called asking and giving mechanism. You know, you pay nothing for whatever you can use resources, and you don't have to pay attention on environmental protection, right? So now, what mean by economization? That means whatever you will be dealing with resources or environment, you have to take into account the cost and benefit, right? Not just financial cost, but social cost, environmental cost, economic cost, you know, everything cost and benefit. And for that, three or four key directions, you know. One is a problem of ownership. You know, when you reinforce ownership, you know, so transaction even through the market, you have to pay attention on the cost and benefit. Right? And the second, as I mentioned, very much use market-based instrument, tax, fee, whatever, you know, quota, trade, whatever, to use natural resources more efficient and more efficiently, and also protect environment also more efficient way. And the third one, that means if you think about the benefit, right? So that's not just you think environment and as a public good, right? So only the public can invest that, but private investor also can spend money for that. So they can get the benefit and they can share the risk and return with the government. And last but not least, you know, before you get nothing, public budget get nothing from that. But using the new mechanism, you know, market-based and reinforcement mechanism, from now on, over the last 2 years, budget get more and more money come from the natural resources use. So, you know, so that's the whole thing. But as I mentioned, the key thing is you have to take into account the cost and benefit in general terms.
안 박사님 혹시 답법께서 제안한 지금 말씀하시고 내용에 대해서 혹시 좀 아이디어를 총괄적으로 보시는 입장이나
I wouldn't say this is the OECD perspective at all, because this is more kind of common. Dr. Bo mentioned that's the very traditional and basic policy strategy when you are trying to incorporate not just financial cost, but also the cost associated with using natural resources and social expense, so, if I may say. So I think the basic approach is very traditional, but also has. But the thing is, I guess, is more about the how you adapt this well-known or these policy tools into local circumstances, I think, because every country has different environmental problems, and also every country has a different natural assets, and they have a degree of a different. They are so in that way the problems are differentiated by in that kind of point. So it's more about the implementation. I think this is the market-based structure, market-based instrument. That's good, but which market instrument is going to be most applicable to your local environment or in Vietnam, a situation in Vietnam. For example, if I go back to my slide, slide 4, there is a list of all the market instruments, such as the certification of sustainable production and trade, and the payments for ecosystem services, and the green energy investment frameworks and incentives, and social enterprise, and everything has been listed. But what instrument or what policy option or what instrument are you going to pick, and try to customize the things into your already existing national plans and systems? I think that's the one thing that hasn't been solved or dealt with in local area, because OECD, including OECD, many international organizations and institutes provide basic principles and guidelines and everything. But we already have always have a problem when you take all the good instrument into your situation. Sometimes it doesn't work at all. Why is that? It's just because you don't really fully understand the local problems and how to approach what kind of approach is correct to solve that problem. So I guess my point here is that I'm not saying anything about the policy options Dr. Bo mentioned or the Vietnam is trying to push. But the thing is, you have to be really careful about how you are going to work with in practice and with the local people and local environmental circumstances.
그 혹시 플로우에서 지금 한 2가지 정도 제가 제기한 거 상황 쟁점에 대해서 혹시 플로우에서 코멘트 하시거나 하실 분이 계신가요?
I can probably just speak and everybody can hear me. Hi. Matthew Fielding from the Stockholm Environment Institute. First of all, I think green growth is really tough. I think, and show me the country that is an example of green growth. Okay. Please show it to me, because I have not seen it. What I see as the base of it is it's the root of capitalism. You take the thing for price A and you sell it at price B. However, what we're saying is you should base price A on price B. So if you were to take your trees, which you can get for free now, create a table from them and sell it at a profit, and everybody's happy. However, what we're saying now is you need to know you're going to make a table and base that on the price you pay for the wood in the first place. And that's almost impossible to do. So, so I think one of the important things to think about here is, like Arne said, is green growth has to be local. And I think this comes down to Dr. Vol's point as well, when you said, is it green growth a concept, or is it just growth that is green? And I think countries should be able to implement their own green growth policies based on, is it green to cut down all of your forest to make some money in the short term? Countries need to answer that themselves. Is it green to mine all your minerals and sell them to other countries in the short term? Countries need to answer that themselves. And so I think what should be done is to empower countries to actually answer these decisions for themselves, because countries like Sweden, countries like England, they made their own decisions. They don't listen to the IMF, they don't listen to whoever is telling them what to do. So why should other countries? Thank you.
네, 맞습니다. 사실 지금 코멘트 주시는 것이 상당히 공감하는 부분입니다. 이게 그린 그로스라고 하는 것은 하나의 어떤 개념적인 그런 그 부분이고요. 각국 상황에 맞게 또 지역에 맞게 그런 전략들이 세워지고 그 전략이 그 어떤 계획들이 임플리멘테이션 되어야 된다고 생각을 합니다. 혹시 또 추가적으로 논의할 예, 오케이.
Thank you. My name is John Paul Paddock from WWF International. So not to contradict, but maybe just for the debate, I guess perhaps I will say that green growth needs to go beyond being local. I think it probably touches on Mrs. An's presentation. I think it has to be at all levels. It has to be at the local level, at the level of governments, public level investments, but also at the level of the private sector and the corporates. And I think you cannot have sustainable green growth at a global level if you limit green growth at the local level. Today we are consuming the natural resources of about 1.5 planets per year. So that's not sustainable. So we need to have a macro plan as well as a series of plans which touch the local level, national, regional, and both public, private, and local communities. So just to put that into the debate and maybe refer to 2 documents that WWF has produced which touch that. Every 2 years we produce this Living Planet report, and the last one was released in June, just before June, at the Rio Summit, and it basically measures the health of the planet. And the report is pretty explicit about the state of the planet. The impact of man on the planet is such that biodiversity is going down and the ecological footprint is going up. And so, how do we bridge that gap? So I encourage everybody to look at this Living Planet report. And then the second one is a more recent report that was released in June, done jointly by WWF and the Asian Development Bank, on the issues that Dr. Tran was talking about, on the ecological footprint and investing in natural capital in Asia and the Pacific, and it touches on a lot of the issues that the panel has presented. So also encourage people to look at that report produced by the Asian Development Bank and WWF on natural capital. Thank you.
앞에 고맙습니다. 코멘트 고맙고요. 그 앞서서 지역화라고 하는 거는 그 사실 독세성장이라는 게 맞습니다. 이게 모든 이해관계자, 정부, 또 중앙정부, 지방정부, 또 기업, 또 학계, 뭐 같은 모든 이해관계자의 다 그 개념이 그 적용이 돼야 되는 거 다 맞고요. 근데 아까 지역화라고 한 것은 지역화라고 얘기한 것은 실질적인 프랙티컬한 임플리멘테이션에 있어서 지역화가 강조돼야 된다는 그런 뜻으로 말씀을 드린 겁니다. 그리고 지금 주신 ADB 그 어떤 리포트라든지 그런 정보, 인포메이션에 대해서 감사드립니다. 오케이.
Thank you. I just come out the meeting room next door. We talked about green economy. Actually, it's quite complementary, to each other. Here we have the green growth. So my first comments, as I talked there, is we need something simpler for those outside this meeting room. For those educated, either have little or eventually no education. So we don't need those jungle. It's difficult to give a definition. So we can simply say, consume less energy, consume less water, less material, and achieve social equity and lower the gap between rich and poor. That's the definition for the green economy there. So anyway, so let's do something, just get something quite simple. And the second, I have a question for Dr. Kwan. Yeah, the first speaker. Yeah, your presentation is very clear, and I like the slides. But however, I have a question for you. In the last, the last slide, you propose to establish a legal framework for green growth. So that's I don't know how you will do with that. As the others comment for that. For those economical production, actually is governed by the price system, by the competition, the commercial competition. It's not judged by some legal system. So how can you, judge, whether products is is green or not, and should not be put into international market? And so I have a problem with that.
So the question was how to establish a legal framework of green growth. Is that what your question?
Yes, but
yeah. Your question was how to establish a legal framework of green growth.
Oh yeah. How to establish a legal framework of green growth. Who supposed to be the judge, who implement such a legal framework. We even have, so far as I know, the carbon tax, which is imposed by EU, which does not work. I think because most of the country, and I think there will be some interest group behind this, against it. So I don't think there will be a future for such a carbon tax, at least in the near future. So if you propose such a legal system for green growth, so who will implement? Who will be the judge?
Well, that's what's going in Korea. I mean, in Korea, we have a legal framework on green growth policy. Actually, the local government, the central government, local government, they have the decision makers. So they implement this policy based on the legal framework. So what I try to suggest is, if you want to apply this green growth concept in your system, in each country's system, I think it's better to have some kind of pushing, system. It's not necessarily to be a legal framework, but it's something, policy or plan. So that's what I suggest.
So the idea is, for the law.
Well, I'd like to add one more thing about the Dr. Kwan's statement. I think even though he presented as a legal framework of the green growth, I think his intention was more like how you integrate green growth concept into either existing legal structure in your own country, not necessarily meaning making new independent legislation just for the green growth. So I think there was a little bit of difference there. So, and also it doesn't necessarily mean legal framework, as he said. It also includes all the strategy and national planning, because in Korean legal structure, they have a high level, they have legislation, and also they have subcategories of planning under it. So I think he's more meaning about toward that kind of system, not necessarily meaning you have to have like independent, like a strong legislation to push green growth.
I'd like to also have some comments about this legal framework. If I mean, green growth is, I mean, people don't want to do that. I mean, because people want to have a life that you know, previously they, I mean, traditional system is much better, much more comfortable for the people. So when we say green growth, it's we need something. We need to enforce the green growth. We should more emphasize